Hi everybody, it's Miss Annie from the Youth Room at the Wakefield Library, and I am here to bring you another Wednesday Read Aloud. Every Wednesday at 2 o'clock p.m. you can catch me here. I will be reading different books for kids going into kindergarten through 4th grade, but everyone is more than welcome to listen in and enjoy the story with us. This is just one of our programs that we're doing as part of our summer reading program, which will be running until August 15th. We have lots of great weekly programs coming at you for kids of different ages. We have story times going on, we have bingo, we have Where's Buzzy, we have Submit Your Story, and a couple of special events as well. And you can find all of this info and more at wakefieldlibrary.org. So even though things are a little bit different this summer, we're all virtual, everything's online, we still have a lot of activities planned for you, and we are so excited to bring them to you. So let's go ahead and we will get started. Last week I read chapters 1 through 5 of Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus by Barbara Park. And if you remember, Junie B. had a horrible time riding the bus. It's her first ever day of kindergarten, and she had to ride the bus in the morning, and it was hot, and it was smelly, and kids were mean, and they were pushing her, and she didn't have anybody to sit next to. She tried to sit next to a little girl with curly hair, and that little girl put a purse in her seat and said no. To make things even worse, when Junie B. got to school, one of her classmates, Lucille, told her that sometimes kids dump chocolate milk on you on the bus. So when it came time for Junie B. to ride the bus back home after her first day of kindergarten, she was not particularly excited about getting on that bus. And so guess what? She didn't. So Junie B. is still at school when she is supposed to be going home on the bus. And that's where we left off last week, so let's go ahead and get started, and we will see what happens to Junie B. next. Chapter 6, A Good Hider. When you're the very last one in line, nobody watches you, and that's how come nobody saw me when I ducked behind the teacher's desk and hid. I'm a good hider. One time at Grandma Miller's house, I hid under the kitchen sink, and then I made a growling sound and sprung out at her. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. Anyway, I stayed scrunched behind the teacher's desk for a while. And then I saw a better place to hide. It was the big supply closet in the back of the room. And so I ran back there very fast, and I squeezed into the bottom shelf. I squeezed right on top of the construction paper. Most of me was comfortable, except my head was sort of tight and my knees were all bended, like when I do a somersault. Then I pulled the door mostly closed. Don't shut it all the way, though. And I mean it, I said right out loud. I stayed real quiet for lots of minutes. Then I heard noises in the hall, and some feet came running into the room. Big people's feet, I think. What happened? I heard someone ask. One of my little girls is lost, said a voice that sounded like Mrs. Her name is Junie B. Jones, and she didn't get on the bus, so now we've got to go out looking for her. Then I heard some keys jingle, and the feet went running out again, and then the door shut. I still didn't come out of the closet, though. When you're a good hider, you can't come out for a very, very long time. I just stayed in there all bended up, and I told myself a story. Not an out loud story, I just told it inside of my head. It was called The Little Hiding Girl. I made it up, and this is how it went. Once upon a time, there was a little hiding girl. She was in a secret spot where nobody could find her, except her head was very tight and her brain was squishing out. But she still couldn't come out of her spot, or a smelly, yellow monster would get her, and also some meanies with chocolate milk. The end. After that, I rested my eyes. Resting your eyes is what my grandpa does when he watches TV after dinner, and then he snores, and Grandma Miller says, "Go to bed, Frank." It's not the same thing as a nap, though. Because naps are for babies, that's why. And anyway, I didn't snore. I just did a little drool. Then finally, when my eyes were done resting, they woke up. And so I came out of the closet and ran right to the window. And guess what? There weren't any cars in the parking lot. And no stupid smelly bus either. Whew, that's a relief, I said. A relief is when your stomach doesn't feel squeezy anymore. After that, I went back to the closet. Because while I was hiding, I sniffed the smell of clay, that's why. And clay is my very favorite thing in the whole world. "Hey, I see it up there," I said. The clay was on the middle shelf. I stood on a chair to get it. It was blue and stiff, and so I had to roll it on the floor to make it soft and warm. Then I rolled it into a blue-orange. It was very beautiful, except it had some dirt and hair on it. After I was done, I went to the front of the room and sat down in my teacher's big chair. I like teachers' desks very much. The drawers are so big, I could fit in one, I think. I opened the top one. There were happy face stickers and rubber bands and also gold stars, which I love a very lot. I stuck one on my forehead. Then I found paper clips and red marking pens and new pencils with no points and scissors and travel tissues, and guess what else? Chalk, I said. Brand new chalk that's not even out of its little box yet. Then I stood on my teacher's chair and clapped my hands together very loud. I want everyone to find a chair and sit down. Today we are going to learn some alphabet and some reading, and also I will teach you how to make a blue-orange. But first, everyone has to watch me draw stuff. Then I went to the board and drew with my brand new chalk. I drew a bean and a carrot and some curly hair, and then I wrote some O's. O's are my bestest letter. After that, I bowed. Thank you very much, I said. Now you may all go out for recess. I smiled. Except not that Jim. Chapter 7. Peeky Holes and Spying. After a while, I started to get a little bit thirsty. That's what happens when you get chalk sprinkles in your throat. I would like a drink of water, I think, I said. Then I put my hands on my hips. Yeah, only what if somebody sees you at the water fountain? Then they might call the stupid smelly bus to come get you, and you better not go. I stamped my foot. Yeah, only I have to go, because there's dumb chalk in my throat. Then all of a sudden, I got a great idea. I pulled a chair over to the door and I peeked out the window on top. I'm a good peeker. One time I peeked right into Grandpa Miller's mouth while he was sleeping, and I saw that dangly thing that hangs down in the back. I didn't touch it though, because I didn't have a little stick or anything, that's why. Anyway, I didn't see anybody in the hall, and so I opened the door crack and I sniffed. Because when you sniff, you can smell if there's people around. I learned sniffing from my dog, Tickle. Dogs can smell everything. People can mostly smell just big smells like stink and flowers and dinner. Nope. Don't smell anyone, I said. Then I ran to the water fountain and I drank for a long time, and nobody tapped on me and said, "Hurry up, girl." After that, I stood on my tippy toes and I tippy-toed to the media center, because I love that place, remember? The media center is kind of like a fort. The shelves are like walls and the books are sort of like bricks, and you can move some of them around and make peeky holes. Peeky holes are what you spy out of. Then if you see somebody coming, you can make your breath very quiet and they won't find you. I spied for a long time, but nobody came. The only people in the media center were just me and some fish. The fish were in a big glass tank. I waved at them in there. Then I stirred them with a pencil. I love fish very much. I eat them for dinner with coleslaw. Just then, I saw my most favorite thing in the whole world. Its name is an electric pencil sharpener, and it was sitting right on the librarian's desk. "Hey," I said, very excited. "I think I know how to work that thing." Then I looked in the desk drawer, and guess what? There were lots of brand new pencils in there, and so I sharpened them. It was funner than anything, because an electric pencil sharpener makes a nice noise. You can make pencils as teeny as you want. You keep pushing them into the little hole, and they just keep on getting teenier and teenier. It doesn't work on crayons, though. I tried a red one, and the pencil sharpener slowed way down, and it made a sound. And after that, it didn't go anymore. Just then, I heard a noise. It was walking feet, and it made me scared inside, because I didn't want anyone to find me, that's why. And so I squatted way down and looked through my peeky hole. Then I saw a man with a trash can. He was singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." That's a song I know. It's from my favorite movie, which is called The Wizard of Oz. The man with the can didn't see me. He walked down the hall. Then I heard him go outside. I stayed squatted down for a long time, but he never came back. Whew! was a close one, I said. And so then I ran to find a better place to hide. Chapter 8. The Dangerous Nurse's Office. Guess where I ran to? Straight to the nurse's office, of course, because there's those little plaid blankets to hide under. There's other neat stuff in there too, like a scale to weigh yourself and a sign with a giant E and other letters. The nurse uses the sign to test your eyes. She points to the letters and you have to yell out their names. You have to yell the E the loudest. That's how come it's big. And guess what else I saw in the nurse's office? Band-Aids, that's what. I love those guys. They were on top of the desk, and so I opened the lid and I sniffed them. I said, because Band-Aids smelled just like brand new beach ball. Then I dumped them out. They were the most prettiest Band-Aids I have ever saw. They were red and blue and green, and also yellow, which is the color I hate. And they were different shapes too. There were squares and circles, and some were that very long kind, which are called tangles, I think. I put a green circle on my knee. That's where I fell down on the sidewalk last week. It's mostly all better now, but if I press it very hard with my thumb, I can still make it hurt. After that, I put a blue tangle on my finger. That's where I got a splinter from the picnic table. Mother pulled it out with tweezers, but there's still some table in there, I think. Also, I put a red square on my arm. That's where Tickle scratched me because I got him all wounded up. Just then, I saw the nurse's purple sweater. It was hanging on her chair. I put it on. "Now I'm the nurse," I said. Then I sat down and I pretended to call the hospital. "Hello, hospital? It's me, the nurse. I need some more Band-Aids and some aspirin and some cherry cough drops, only not the kind that make your mouth feel freezy. And I need some lollipops for when kids get needles. And also I need a little stick or something in case I have to touch that dangly thing that hangs down in your throat." Then I pretended to call room 9. "Hello, missus. Please send that Jim to my office. I have to give him a shot." Just then, I saw my most favorite thing in the world. They were near the door, and their name is crutches. Crutches are for when you break a leg. Then the doctor puts a big white cast with just your piggies sticking out, and you can't walk on it, so she gives you crutches to swing yourself. I ran over and picked them up, and then I put them under my arms, only they were way too long for me, and I didn't swing that good. And so then I got another idea. I carried them to the nurse's chair, and I climbed up there so I was real tall, and I put the crutches under my arms, and they fitted just right. After that, I stood on the edge of the chair, and I leaned forward very slow, except then a terrible thing happened. The chair was on wheels, and it rolled away from my feet, and I got stuck on the crutches way up high in the air, and I was very dangly up there. "Hey!" I shouted. "Get me down from here!" And then I wiggled around, and one of the crutches slipped, and I came crashing down, and I banged my head on the desk. "Ow!" I yelled. "Ow, ow, ow!" And then I picked up the phone again. "I quit this stupid job," I said. Then I ran out of there very fast, because the nurse's office is a dangerous place, and crutches aren't my favorite thing. Chapter 9. Zooming Speedy Fast. I like running inside the school. It's funner than running inside your house. In school, you can zoom with your arms out like a jet plane, and you don't knock over the furniture. And also, the head doesn't get broken off of your mother's bird statue, which used to be a blue jay, I think. I zoomed straight to the cafeteria, because there's a lot of tables to hide under in that place. Only when I tried to open the door, it was all locked up. And so then I ran to another room across the hall, only that stupid door was locked too. "Hey, who did all this dumb locking?" I asked. Then I started jiggling up and down, because I was having a little bit of a problem, that's why. The kind of problem that's called personal, and it's about going to the potty. And so all of a sudden I had to run down the hall speedy quick, right to the girls' bathroom. Only guess what? When I got there, that stupid door wouldn't open either. And so I kicked it, and I hanged on the handle, because I weigh 37. "Open up, and I mean it," I yelled. But the door kept on staying shut. "It's emergency," I shouted. Then all of a sudden, I remembered about that boy I can beat up, because he had emergency too, and he got to go in the boys' bathroom. And so I zoomed across the hall, and I pulled on the boys' bathroom door, but that dumb thing was locked too. "Stupid, stupid doors," I hollered. After that, I started to jiggle up and down very fast. Oh no, now I'm gonna have an accident on my skirt that looks like velvet. Only just then, I remembered something else about emergencies, because Mother told me what to do if I ever needed help. And its name is call 911. And so then I ran back to the dangerous nurse's office, because that's where the phone was, of course. And then I picked it up, and I pushed the 9, the 1, and another 1. "Help! This is emergency!" I yelled. "All the doors are locked in this place, and now I'm going to have a terrible accident." And then I heard a voice on the other end. She said for me to calm down. "Yeah, only I can't, because I'm in big trouble, and I'm all by myself, and I need help real bad." Then the lady said to calm down again, except I couldn't stand still, and so I just hung up and ran right out of there. And I just kept running and running till I got to the big doors at the end of the hall. And then I run right outside, because maybe there might be a little toilet out there or something. Except I didn't see one. All I could hear was sirens, loud sirens all over the place, and they kept getting closer and closer. And then a big green fire truck came zooming right around the corner, and a white police car and a fast red ambulance. And guess what else? They turned right into the school parking lot. And so I stopped jiggling for a second, and I sniffed the air. Only I couldn't smell any smoke. Then I heard a grouchy voice. "Hey, hold it, Missy," it yelled. And I got very scared inside, because Missy's my name when I'm in trouble. I turned around, and it was the man with the can, and he was running at me. "Hold it right there," he hollered again. And I started to cry. "Yeah, only that's the trouble. I can't hold it," I said. "I already holded it all I can, and now I'm having emergency, and all the bathrooms are locked, and I'm going to have an accident very quick." And then the man with the can didn't look so grouchy anymore. "Well, why didn't you say so, sis?" he said. Then he pulled a big bunch of keys out of his pocket, and he grabbed my hand, and then him and me zoomed back into the school, speedy fast. Chapter 10, Me and That Grace. The man with the can unlocked the girls' bathroom for me, and I ran right in there. And guess what? I made it. That's what. I didn't have an accident on my skirt that looks like velvet. Whew, that was a close one, I said. Then I washed my hands at the sink, and I looked in the mirror, and the gold star was still on my forehead. It looked very beautiful up there. After that, I went into the hall, and the man with the can bended down to me. "Everything okay, sis?" he said. And so I nodded my head. "I holded it," I said, very happy. Then all of a sudden, there were lots of people running at us. There were firemen and policemen, and there was a tall lady rolling a bed on wheels. "Hey," I said to the man with the can. "What happened? Did somebody get runned over in here or something?" Then I saw Mrs. and Principal and Mother. They were running at us too. And then Mother bended down and hugged me very tight. After that, everybody started talking at once, and nobody was using their quiet voices. And nobody was smiling either. Principal started asking me a jillion questions. Mostly they were questions about hiding in the supply closet. "I'm a good hider," I told him. Principal acted a little bit grumpy, and he said that I'm not allowed to do that anymore. "When you go to school, you have to follow the rules," he said. "What would happen if every boy and girl hid in the supply closet after school?" "It would be very smushy in there," I said. Then he made his eyes frowny. "But we wouldn't know where anyone was, would we?" he said. "Yes," I said. "We would all be in the supply closet." And then Principal looked up at the ceiling. And I looked up there too, but I didn't see anything again. After that, Mother looked at my Band-Aids. "Did you hurt yourself?" she asked. And so I told her all about the dangerous nurse's office, and then I showed her the nurse's purple sweater, and she made me give it back. After that, everybody started leaving, the firemen, the policemen, and also the tall lady with the bed. Then finally, Mother got to take me home. And guess what? I didn't have to ride on the stupid smelly bus. Except the car wasn't that fun because Mother was grouchy at me. "I'm sorry the bus wasn't fun for you, Junie B," she said, "but what you did was very, very wrong. Didn't you see all the commotion you caused? You had a lot of people very scared. Yes, but I didn't want chocolate milk poured on my head, I explained to her. That's not going to happen, growled Mother. And you can't just suddenly decide for yourself not to ride the bus. Hundreds of kids ride buses every day, and if they can do it, you can too. Then my eyes got wet again. Yeah, but there's meanies on that thing, I said all sniffly. Then Mother stopped being so growly. What if you had a friend to ride with, she said. Your teacher told me there's a girl in your class who will be riding the bus for the first time tomorrow. Maybe you could sit together. Would you like that? I made my shoulders go up and down. Her name is Grace, said Mother. Grace, I said. Hey, I know that Grace. I learned her today. And so when we got home, Mother called that Grace's mother, and then they talked, and then me and that Grace talked too. And I said hi, and she said hi, and she said she would sit with me. And so tomorrow, I get to take my little red purse on the bus, and I get to put it on the seat next to me so nobody will sit there. Nobody except for that Grace, of course. And then she and me might get to be buddies, and we can hold hands, just like me and Lucille. And I will like that, I think. And guess what else? Tomorrow, I think I might like yellow a little bit too. And that is the end of Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus by Barbara Park. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoying this story with me. I should also mention as well, if you are playing bingo with us, this hits a couple of your squares. It's 1 book per square, but this would fill your square for a funny book, or realistic fiction, or the first book in a series. Just a heads up. So we finished Junie B. Jones, and next week you can tune in. For the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be reading a middle grade book, so it's a little bit longer than Junie B. Jones, and I'm going to be reading Dragons in a Bag by Zetta Elliott. And this is a story following 9-year-old Jax, who lives in an apartment in Brooklyn with his mother. Well, for now, because they're about to get evicted. And while his mother goes to try to sort things out with the apartment, she sends Jax to stay with his neighbor, who's a mysterious and really grouchy lady called Ma. And while Jax is at Ma's house, he discovers a mysterious package there that's sort of moving around, and he thinks, this is a little odd. And then it becomes a lot odd when he finds out that not only is this package full of dragons, but Ma is a witch. And she's been tasked with bringing these dragons from Brooklyn to a different world, this sort of magical realm, and she needs Jax's help. Now, there's a couple of rules with these dragons. You can't let them out of the bag, and you cannot feed them anything sweet. Jax's friends get involved, and they may or may not break some of the rules. So we have to find out if Jax and his friends will be able to return the dragons to their home in the magical world. And if he can accomplish that, when he returns to Brooklyn, will he still have a home there? So tune in next week. I will be reading this for the rest of July before we move on to our final book for August for our Wednesday read-alouds. So thank you so much for tuning in with Junie B. Jones, and I hope I will see you again next Wednesday at 2:00 p.m. for the beginning of Dragons in a Bag by Zetta Elliott. Thank you so much, and I will see you all soon. Bye, guys!